Hey writer friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Holly. I'm a writer aspiring to be a published author. And today I'm here to share with you my 5 tips to find comp titles for your novel. So comp titles are exactly what they sound. They're comparative titles that you can use against your own book. Comp titles are used to draw readers and, more importantly, agents into your work. You can use comp titles in your pitches and queries if you're going the traditional publishing route. They give an agent a sense of what your novel is about and also how popular your novel can be. So now that you know the importance of comp titles, let's get into my 5 tips. Tip number 1, use your own reading list. So more likely than not, if you're writing in a certain genre, you're also reading in that genre too. So you may have not even read those books already. So go through the books that you have read and the books that you put on your TBR, your to be read list, and see if there are any books that you can compare your novel to. Hopefully, if you're reading a lot in that genre and you're writing in a similar fashion, you're writing to market. And agents like that because they want your book baby to succeed just as much as you do. Tip number 2, find different ways to compare your novel to others. So some people, like me, when I was writing Ranakori Realm, I was like, I don't know what other books are like this book. Like, I don't know. I just thought about it in my head. So if you're also feeling that way about your novel, you may have to think about other things that you can compare your novel to. For example, what sorts of themes are present in your book? Is it about friendship, family, courage? Are there other books that you know of that have those big themes? You can even use comp titles from writers whose writing style is similar to yours. So for example, if you have beautiful, flowery prose, then maybe you can compare your work to Laini Taylor's. I actually haven't read any of her books, but I hear that her prose is beautiful. Or maybe you're really great at cliffhanger endings and building up the suspense and dropping something that nobody saw coming, then maybe you can compare your book to Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. There are so many ways to find books that are similar to yours, so find the one that you think will attract the most attention to you. Tip number 3, use Goodreads groups and forums. So this is actually what I did with Ranakori Realm because I came up with the idea in 2006 or 2007, and it was probably actually more inspired by Final Fantasy than anything else. So I'm like, I guess I could compare it to a video game, but I really wanted to have some books that I could compare it to. So because I didn't really know anything out there, I posted on the Goodreads forums and groups that were in my book's genre. So there was like a YA readers group, and I think there was like a YA fantasy forum. So I posted in there, and I actually just posted like the pitch that I was going to use in my query letter. So just like a paragraph, short summary describing what the book is about. And, you know, I didn't say that I wrote the book. I just said like, here's this book. What other books sound like this book? And I actually got a lot of responses, and I was so very happy because a lot of the books I'm like, oh yeah, I heard of those, but I've never read them. And there were lots of books that like, I've never even heard of these. So then from there, I gathered the list, and any ones that, you know, kind of had a recurring theme that people had mentioned multiple times, I really looked into those. But sometimes I'm like, no, that doesn't really sound like my novel. But I did find some books that I was able to compare to Ranakori Realm. So this is a great way for you to get some ideas, are from all of the wonderful reader community and writer community out there in the world. And as a bonus tip, you can also ask your beta readers and critique partners who've actually read your book, hey, do you know of any other books out there that sound like my book, or that have the same writing style or themes or feel as my book? And they can help you out too. Tip number 4, take me to the movies. So while I do think that you should have at least one book that you compare your novel to, it doesn't hurt to use movies and TV shows too. That's actually a big thing that I've been seeing a lot lately, especially with well-established published authors, that they're using movies to compare their books to, and that's like totally hype. So I'll give you some examples of some recent comparisons I've seen. So one of them was Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings, and they pitched Zenith as Guardians of the Galaxy with an all-women crew. And I was like, yeah, that kind of sounds good. And then also, Victoria Schwab recently released the premise of her middle grade novel, City of Ghosts, and she had pitched it as Stranger Things plus Ghost Hunters. So I'd never actually seen Ghost Hunters. I don't even know what that is. But I was like, Stranger Things? That's all you gotta say. And I am sold. If you haven't seen the cover, that is beautiful. So you should definitely check it out. And then my last example is my second novel, my middle grade novel, Abargo's Riddle, that I will be pitching as Zootopia meets Caraval, which is a movie and book comparison, which are both pretty recent and were very popular. So try to find those ones that like people are like, hell yeah. And lastly, tip number 5, the library and bookstore are your best friends. So I actually got this tip from the Book Doctors that I found through Pitchapalooza after NaNoWriMo a couple years ago. They have like the What Now months, like about editing and how to write a pitch. And one of their suggestions that they gave me personally, because I actually had a phone conversation with Ariel, who is a literary agent and an author herself. They're an awesome husband-wife team, but she had told me that if I want to, be seen by agents, I need to compare my book to other novels. And she had recommended going to the bookstore or the library and finding the like YA fantasy expert, so whichever genre you're in, like go to that section and try to find the expert and ask them, if they mind reading your premise, your pitch, your blurb. You want like a summary that's kind of like what you would see on the back blurb of a book cover. And so you just want to give that to them and say, hey, do you know of any books that are like this book? And if they're working there, they should be an expert and be able to help you out. I was very nervous when I went to the bookstore and asked someone, hey, do you know of any books like this? It was really nerve-wracking, but once I asked him, I was fine, and he was able to pick out a couple books for me. I didn't end up using any of those in my comp titles, but it was still very helpful, and it may be helpful for me in the future. Okay, guys, so there you have it, my 5 tips to find comp titles for your novel. Let me know in the comments below if you've used movies, books, TV shows to compare your novel to, and if you have used any of these ideas too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.